Welcome back, crime fighters. We're here for another case of the week. I'm Katie Webster.
I'm Assistant Commonwealth Attorney Dan Laren.
Well, hi, Dan. So today we're going to talk about another one of Dan's successfully prosecuted cases. And we see a lot of cases here and some that are particularly disgusting. And this is a guy named James Travis Hart.
Yes, it is.
And he was particularly heartless and a cold-hearted snake, like Paula Abdul would say.
One way to look at it is indeed. Mr. Hart I can't really agree that I was entirely successful with this one. There's some things went on with this case that I'm very unhappy about. But Mr. Hart is 30 years of age, and in March of 2011, he was on probation at the time. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And an invalid gentleman in our community hired him as a caretaker to help him walk around and bathe and go to the store and buy things for him. Mr. Hart responded by stealing the victim's checkbook and writing about $500 or $600 in checks, which he cashed at a local store. At the end of that month, he was arrested for public intoxication, and here's the mugshot, and I think you can see the public intoxication nature of his arrest. He was released the same day from the Fayette County Detention Center. Then on April 14th, he was caught by our patrol units inside a victim's garage. He had broken into the garage, come in through the ceiling, trashed the garage, was in the process of pulling some things together, including a jar of change that he found. So he was arrested again. He was charged with exploiting an adult for the checks that he stole, and for 2 counts of burglary for these garages that he broke into, and the case went in through the system.
So you said he was on probation.
He was. He was on shock probation. At this point, he had 17 prior convictions. He was on felony shock probation out of Jessamine County for burglary, theft, possession of tools. And he had a prior from 2004 also for burglary in Jessamine County, where he had served 2 years. Record shows a variety of priors for DUI, suspended license, public intoxication, that sort of thing. And he had violated probation on at least 1 prior occasion.
Wow. So a career criminal.
It was not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
So we started with the system, with the case in our system. We got a trial date in February of 2012. At that point, he had been released from jail to go to drug treatment. We got there to go to trial, and his attorney needed more time. The attorney said that she wasn't ready to go, and the trial got delayed until December of 2012. So we waited until December of 2012. That's 20 months. That's over a year and a half while the case languished. By this time, he had a new lawyer, and in December of 2012, when we got in front of the judge to try the case, the new lawyer wanted more time. He wanted to dismiss the charges, and he asked the judge for more time so that he could hire an expert to look at the signatures on the checks. Now, this is evidence that this defendant had in his custody for over a year and a half, and they waited 20 months and then asked for more time, and the judge gave it to him. So the case was ultimately set for trial in March of 2013.
About 2 years from when everything started.
It was just under 2 years. And the case was resolved by a guilty plea, and basically the charge as it was, Mr. Hart was not eligible for probation because it was a Class C felony. I amended the abuse of an adult charge, not out of any charity for Mr. Hart, although he did tell a good story. They showed me pictures of his kids. He wrote letters to the judge. He talked about his substance abuse, but because the victim died. And absent that victim's testimony, I had no charge at all. So I pled him to a Class D felony. He pled guilty to 10 years for that and the burglary charges, and the judge put him on probation again. Got it.
So what happened after that? So what's going on with Mr. Hart now?
Well, Mr. Hart he remains on probation in spite of the fact that he has been to state drug treatment at least 3 times that I can find. The records indicate he's been sent to a variety of places. It's a case that really fires me up because he was caught red-handed. I mean, he was just blatantly in the garage stealing money, and that doesn't make me happy, but it's just as that was delayed. This case should not have taken 2 years. It's a simple, very straightforward case, but his lawyers delayed the thing for 2 years. They filed these motions that they should have filed early on. They had time to look at this evidence and convince the judge that they needed more time to do that, and it just really makes me angry that he's on probation, he's seeking substance treatment. Maybe he will be a productive member of society. Maybe he'll take care of his family like he said. I tend to believe that he's an experienced felon, and he and his lawyers manipulated the system until the victim passed away in this case, and they took advantage of that to get him out of prison.
Right. Well, successful prosecution anyhow. You did what you could.
There is that. When I was driving into work this morning, I heard a song that reminded me of this situation, and it's a song by Elvis Costello, and the lyric that sticks in my mind about it is, "I used to be disgusted, and now I try to stay amused." And when I think of our legislature changing the rules, and our judges just letting defendants and their attorneys manipulate the system, it disgusts me, but I try to stay amused.
You got to laugh or you'd cry, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Dan. We'll see you next time.